Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. We have a liftoff. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
Hey everybody, I am Kid Cadet and welcome to PCKC TV. And at this time, I'm going to bring out the owner of Planet Comic-Con. He is the fantastic Chris Jackson.
Greetings, Kid. Thank you for joining us tonight.
How you doing, Chris?
Doing very well. Staying at home. Yep. Just harboring in place.
Well, actually, what I think is really cool about this stream tonight, Chris, is you are actually going to be doing an epic giveaway. Now, I had a chance to see this giveaway earlier, and I think we might have a picture of it. So here's what we're actually going to do in order for everyone watching right now to win this autographed, signed picture. We're going to give you guys the opportunity to ask your questions to our two fantastic guests. And whatever questions you guys ask tonight, if we choose one of your questions, you're going to be entered into a drawing to win what you are looking at right now. And this is so neat because it is actually signed by Lindsay Jones, by Kara, by Aaron, by Barbara, but we also have it signed by Elizabeth and Michael. So whatever questions you guys may have tonight for Kara and Elizabeth, now is your chance to start thinking. But Chris, I'm already seeing the comments like blowing up. People have a ton of questions and we're going to try to get to as many as possible.
That's great. We're giving away 2 of those tonight, by the way, just so folks know. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Yes. So.
Very cool.
All right. So I would like to introduce our guests for this evening. They are 2 of my favorite actors. They are from the very popular Rooster Teeth animation series RWBY. They are the Schnee sisters. They are Winter Schnee and Weiss Schnee. We have Kara Eberle and Elizabeth Maxwell.
Hello.
Good evening, ladies.
Hi.
And for those of you just watching, Elizabeth is Winter Schnee. Kara is Weiss Schnee. The Schneesters. So is there a story there for the Schneesters? Is there a...
I'm pretty sure you came up with that, didn't you, Kara?
I was going to say you came up with I think we were both writing a tweet when we were watching the first episode together that we were in. Mm-hmm. And I think I was trying to think of something like a little creative and different. And I was like, Schnee sisters.
Schneesters.
I think
Schneesters.
Organically like that. So
it kind of rolls off the tongue. I like it. Yes.
I feel like it's very on brand for the RWBY pun humor.
Absolutely.
Do you find that there's like a lot of RWBY puns that maybe you guys created or the fan base created?
I create a pun out of Schnee whenever I get the opportunity. I did it on Twitter today. I said, Schnee there. So nice to Schnee you all. I'm such a little dork. It's funny.
No, it's adorable.
One of my favorite things is posting something about the Schnees and then seeing the puns that all the fans on Twitter come up with based on what we said.
Right.
And they are invariably more creative than I am. I'm like pun novice, and there are some pun masters on Twitter, let me tell you.
Well, maybe we'll get
some vocabulary though. If there's ever, I realize the lighting for me is very cool. So I apologize. I'm not.
You're good, Kara. You're
You're
good.
on brand.
No, Elizabeth, you're great with the like. It's a great team because I'm like, yeah, let's do something. I'm very silly, and you're like, well, yes, it's a bit, and you'll come up with you'll say a word that I'm like, I would have never used that word, but that's right, Elizabeth. Smart.
So maybe we could we might lean heavily in giving one of those pictures away to somebody that comes up with a clever Schnee term for us tonight.
That
I like
we have not.
Yeah, let's so some of you out there that want to make comments, come up with something for the Schneesters. That one's already taken, folks.
Yeah. If you're good at puns, this
Yeah,
is your moment. This is your time.
We've already heard it's so nice to Schnee you. So
Someone did say I have to give them credit. I liked it on Twitter immediately. They said, "Looks like someone's a little bit schneedy."
that's good. That's really good. I like that.
I love it. So, but aside from that, that was good. But they're gonna be better.
Well,
I'm excited to see.
first and foremost, it is really awesome to have the both of you guys here today. And out of curiosity, before your roles in RWBY, did the two of you guys know each other?
Nope.
This is like one of my favorite stories too. We did not know each other, and I, had been invited to audition for RWBY. I submitted an audition. When I was told that I had been cast, I was told that one of the reasons that they liked my audition so much is that I sounded like I really could be related to Kara, that we had like similar vocal inflections and cadences and so forth. And I, started watching RWBY before I recorded, and I got really obsessed with the show. And then it just so happened that I was touring Powerhouse Animation with a friend.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot.
Sarah was working there at the time. And was it you? Did you hear my voice from
Yes,
another room?
I heard a female voice say, "Oh my gosh, Kara Eberle, does she work here?" And I put two and two together after kind of eavesdropping. And then I ran in and I was like, I interrupted like she was being introduced to like our CFO, and I was the executive assistant, so I'm good friends with them. It was not like a totally out of thing for me. But I walked in and I was like, "Are you my sister?"
And we totally, oh, two Schnees in a pod. I love it.
Did someone see that? That's great. That's awesome.
And
I love that.
we are two Schnees in a pod, because I remember feeling like instantly very close to you within like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So
it was a lot of fun.
I know a lot of the times people will record their vocals separately, but has there ever been an instance where the two of you as sisters got to record together?
Unfortunately, no, not yet. Elizabeth has helped me with several records as far as, a lot of my efforts go. And Elizabeth is laughing right now because she knows that well, you're really good with like your speech and how the mouth movements really make a difference. And so I remember when we were watching that episode together, our first episode, we did Elizabeth's like, make like a and so we were kind of like growling at each other. It was great. It was one of the best, learning sessions I think I've ever had.
There may or may not have been a couple of mimosas involved.
Ooh, yum. Couple of few.
So, out of curiosity, for the both of you, growing up, was this your intention? Did you want to be an actor?
So I have wanted to be an actor since I was like 5, since I was old enough to even know what that was. But strangely enough, even though like I watched cartoons and anime and played video games like crazy, it just never really entered my mind to try my hand at voice acting. I was very focused on film and TV. And it wasn't until like my late 20s that I even was like, whoa, VO, that is acting too. Oh my gosh. And now it's funny because it's hard for me to imagine like not doing this. It's become such a part of my life and my identity and my passion for acting. So it has grown and expanded.
I think that probably also, you know, comes from like, I mean, your mom's a speech pathologist. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I actually went to school to study, with speech pathology. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, maybe that helped. I don't know.
She totally would belong in the Schnee family, because I remember when
your mom
drive me nuts because she would like correct my grammar and like my pronunciation.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm chuckling at our latest one on screen there. So.
That's what Schnee said. This one's very good.
That one's good. I have heard that before, but it's good.
I'm not shocked. The
It's
Schnee sisters.
It's going to be hard to find one that I have never heard of or done.
Schneebriated? Someone just said schneebriated?
That's amazing, but this is a Ruby podcast, and unfortunately there's no glass of any alcohol in my hand. But that's great. R-rated one. As far as to answer your question about when we were growing up, if we thought we would be an actor, absolutely not. I studied communications and electronic media in college, and I was very into just kind of the psychology behind communications and how people communicate with each other, whether it be online, face to face, and kind of, you know, I learned how to highlight the differences between the two, which does come in handy now. But it was kind of cool though when Monty approached me about it, because I don't think that I would have been able to do a lot of the different or be able to communicate effectively on the mic what my emotions would be. And I had a lot of assignments that were like that in college, where you had to, and I was not in theater or anything at all. It was just communications class. And I had to, you know, the class would have to identify like one of the 10 stages of emotion based on like just your ABCs of how your tone was. It was crazy, but so no, I didn't, but I can see how it fit in.
So I know Elizabeth mentioned it, like that she was into anime growing up. Is that correct, Elizabeth?
Mm-hmm.
So did you guys have a favorite anime that you grew up watching?
Well, I will say, not to like totally age myself here, but my exposure was somewhat limited because I grew up in the era before like Funimation and Crunchyroll and, you know, everything existed. So I was kind of confined to whatever bootleg DVDs my brother brought home from Anime Club in high school. But two of my favorites that stand out that I still really love to this day are Escaflowne. That's probably one like top 3. And my brother introduced me to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as well. And, you know, to this day, like Dio and Vanilla Ice are still some of my favorite anime villains.
Very cool. What about you, Kara?
To make me sound very young, I was a big fan of like old school Saturday morning cartoon type stuff. I watched whatever was available on, you know, my black and white TV that had like 4 channels that was black and white that, you know, you had to hit to make it work sometimes. So a lot of that was just, you know, all the little like the Looney Tunes and whatnot. But I really loved all the Disney movies until I grew up and went to college and realized that all the messaging there isn't quite what I thought when I was little. But
oh, the bees sneeze.
That's actually my husband. That's my husband's. Good job, babe.
I've heard that
Good job, Vincent.
Nice, Vince.
I think we're actually very blessed to be living in an age where there is so much anime and so much incredible content, and just the visuals are beautiful and the stories are so incredible, and these story arcs, you know, from even volume 1 till now. And I was wondering, did the two of you have a favorite story arc of your characters?
I mean, I know as far for Weiss, one of my, I mean, it started the arc. I'll say that. Favorite moment, though, that she really, you know, decided, I'm not going to be like I thought that everyone else wanted to be, beating my family. It was the Schnee fundraiser episode when Weiss totally just kind of, not, I want to say loses it, but she snaps, you know, and she looks at everyone. She goes, "Everyone, just shut up. All you care about is your money and your clothes. None of that means anything." And I love that because that was totally what Weiss kind of was in the beginning, in Volume 1. And the fact that now she's totally escaping from that and saying, like, "You're wrong. This is crazy," and recognizing that was a big moment for her.
I don't know about, I feel like, Winter, we haven't necessarily seen as much arc per se, but I feel like one of my favorite things, like, for instance, from Volume 7 was kind of seeing how earlier in the series, she's quite a bit more rigid and more, still has kind of her walls up even around Weiss a little bit more. And then in Volume 7, where, first you see her get like all protective mama bear when they bring Team Ruby in and chain, or not Ruby, but they bring, Weiss and everybody in handcuffs. And then, like,
I love that.
Yeah, she's like normal Winter. She's yelling. She's lecturing Kara. Weiss. and Kara just like runs up and bear hugs her.
Weiss.
And you kind of see Winter just like make that decision to like let it go and just hug her. And I still get kind of like I got teary-eyed when we were recording it, and I get a little teary-eyed just like thinking about it now.
I like that scene. It's like Winters are, "You stole the ship? What are you thinking?" What? Exactly.
That's kind of badass. Respect.
And Weiss didn't even hear that. Weiss didn't even hear it. All she saw was her sister.
Yeah.
So that's the way I viewed it. So
I loved it when Elizabeth, the scene with Winter and Penny. I teared up so bad when I can't remember specifically the line. So sorry if I'm paraphrasing here, but it was, Penny was trying to leave and make you leave. And, Winter's like, I don't care anymore, blah, 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 blah. I don't care about my life. And Penny goes, "I care." And I'm like, "Ma!" And I think that, I don't know. That was cute.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So here's a question from Nancy. Would you want to live in the world of Remnant?
Ooh,
if I was Weiss or if I was Kara?
How about both?
If I was Kara, no, I would not make it like 5 feet.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, one of the things I love so much about what we do in acting is like the ability to step into these like super heightened like circumstances and risks and challenges and so forth. But man, like, we're in a pandemic now, and all we're doing is quarantining at home.
That's
and already feels
good.
Like, oh.
Good
So
point.
I can only imagine what like having, your hometown or your university like reduced to rubble, and the world, being threatened by a very real.
At the same time, it's kind of parallel. Like, do you see a little bit of that? Ish.
A little bit.
Of like, we're, Beacon, the fall of Beacon happened, and not only Team Ruby, but everybody had to figure out how to adjust to this new normal-ish, or there's no more Beacon and everything, and how to deal with that. I think and it was obviously done and written before all of this came out, but it's something that I watched it, today, and I couldn't help but relate it a little bit. And like when Weiss, is stuck at home and she can't get out and everything, I was like, that's almost how I feel now, but I'm not being walked in by like a mean dad. It's instead of a mean dad, it's like a mean sickness that is invisible. So it's interesting, but I also think that, it's something to compare because Team Ruby came out of it, stronger in the end. So I'm just optimistic, and as long as everyone, stays hunkered down, stays at home, we'll come out good.
Well, since we're talking about parallels, Kara, what do you think are the biggest parallels between yourselves as actors and your character?
The the desire to be, or the desire to always to work towards perfection. I share that with wife for sure. And I think that, I mean, I don't really, I went to a private school when I was 13 in 8th grade, or 13, and I switched to public school. The best time to switch to a public school that age. And I kind of felt like Weiss then, but I mean, I was very shy. I didn't say anything. So I can see, I have that parallel in relation with her as far as it's hard to make new friends, not in the fact that she didn't go about it the right way, but that's okay. And just in the fact that, you know, teamwork, the longer you try, the better you get.
What about you, Elizabeth?
Oh gosh. I think that I am way more in touch with my emotions and feelings and like touchy-feely than Winter is for sure. But I also like Winter's like love for and loyalty to her family or like the people that are close to her is like, I really, really, you know, I feel the same way. Like I'm a very, like the people who I consider like my blood family or my, you know, chosen family, like I would take a bullet for them, you know? And I also do feel like, kind of like Kara said, like I'm definitely more of a type A person. So I kind of get where Winter's coming from sometimes when she gets like really intense and serious, and that when I get super focused on something, I can kind of get tunnel vision and like focus on it to maybe the slight detriment of some other things or people in my life. So
I agree with that. And I also am very, you know, I'm very close to my family and, you know, people that are around me, a small group, very close.
And it's funny too, because I'm actually, I'm the youngest in my like real life family.
Oh, this carries on to this question.
Yeah, so this question is, if the Schneester's ages were reversed, can we expect the same dynamic? That is a good question.
That's funny because you're the youngest and I'm the oldest.
That's right. I don't know. I mean, I feel like in our case, in the Schnee sisters' case, I think that the birth order plays a big part.
Right. Absolutely.
Like, I do think that their personalities probably, I mean, obviously you are who you are to a certain extent, but I think that if Weiss had been the eldest and Winter had been the middle child, there would have definitely been some different things going on.
Right. I mean, because like as a younger sibling, whoever, whether you be the middle or youngest, you always look up to the older one, you know, for inspiration and what are they doing? And I want to be, you know, a little bit like them. What they're doing is okay. I don't think that, I mean, Weiss was so, you know, confused. And I think that's because she saw, you know, what Winter had gone through and what the place that she's at. And then she's like, well, yeah, she has some decisions to make in the beginning.
And this is by no means canon. Like I make up a lot of stuff in my own head artistically to kind of flesh out Winter's backstory.
Elizabeth talking, not Winter talking.
Yes, this is Elizabeth talking, not Winter. But I kind of always imagined Winter as having to step in and kind of be a parent for Weiss and Whitley because, you know, Mama and Papa Schnee were not the healthiest or most available of parents. And so I do think that kind of having to take on that level of responsibility when you're really young and kind of jettison your own adolescence in order to take care of others, that definitely kind of shapes who you become as a human being.
Right. I think that also, I mean, because especially going into the army too, you know, at that age, you know, the Winter did. So I think that also, you know, I assume it probably had a little bit of a impact on not only how she thought, but, you know, her mindset going forward of, you know, completing things very, you know, militaristically. That's a word, right? Militaristically.
I'll allow it.
You have that one correct.
Yeah. She sure approves. Awesome.
I love talking about this stuff with you.
So in a similar vein, I've watched about half of the 7th season, and I see a relationship between the Schneesters and their father. So apparently, the Schneesters are daughters of a wealthy family. So, what is the dynamic between the Schneesters and their father? Can you discuss that a little bit?
I'll answer for Weiss as far as what I know. I know that, and I mean, if y'all had watched, I'm assuming spoiler alert. Hopefully, you've seen up through volume 5 or 6. If not,
are we past the point of spoilers on volume 6? I mean, volume 5.
But,
is that okay, ladies? Or can we agree that if you haven't watched through volume 5, maybe you're going to hear a few things?
Sorry, guys.
I always feel like I have to warn for spoilers.
Okay.
You never know. I don't want everyone
very
to
kind of you.
be like, ah!
Okay.
So I hope that was enough time for everyone to leave that needed to leave.
But make sure you guys come back in a couple minutes.
Yeah. So when Weiss confronted her dad, and he had slapped her, and she had said that he was not the end of the Schnee legacy. He was not even a Schnee. And I think that's something that's, kind of incredible for the character. She learned that, this is before even she told everybody to shut up. Or no, right after. During the same time. But regardless, it was the time that she broke out of her shell. And when she was able to be like, to stand back up to him and be like, no, what are you talking about? And to move stuff out of a room and to escape, like, dude, like their dynamic is obviously not good, and history shows that too. I mean, Weiss talks about that in volume 1 when she is talking to Blake and says, you don't understand what my childhood was like. Every night my father would come home angry, and it made for a very, very difficult childhood. And I think that that's something that just obviously, it carries with her whole life. But when she is old enough to realize that she can make her own decisions, things change.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I have too much to add except for that, Jacques is a tyrant, and it's kind of like
he's a Jacques Arse.
Huh?
I didn't say a bad word. I said you can call him a Jacques star SS.
A Jacques ass?
You said it, not me.
It's not a bad word. It's not even a word.
It's ass, not a bad word.
And yeah, I think it's kind of interesting how, like, up until our generation, there's a bit of a dynasty thing going on. And, Weiss and Winter ain't about that.
That's a fake dynasty. That's a fakeness.
Ooh, we got a mutual admiration question here now.
Okay.
What do you admire about each sister?
And you mean as like the Ruby character? What do I admire about Kara?
The list is so long, I assume.
My assumption is about the Ruby characters, but
whatever makes the best story, Liz.
Yeah.
My list would be like what was the question again? Now I forgot.
What do you admire most about
Sorry, I remember now. Is Weiss. I know that Weiss admires Winter's independence and her strength and her fearlessness, because Weiss is still she's learning, but she's still very timid. I want to say when it comes to approaching situations, but Winter is like, dude, she's headstrong. She's confident. She knows what she's doing, knows the plan. And even if it doesn't work out during the process, Winter still acts like that's part of it and that she's dealing with it. It's amazing. Flawless. So
fake it till you make it.
Exactly. But it works so well for you. And for Weiss, she's still trying.
Well, I think one of the things that I honestly really think is awesome about Weiss is, even though she had her reservations and kind of dug her heels into the sand in the beginning, I feel like Weiss's transformation, over the course of the last couple of volumes is immense. Like, she's really grown up in a very admirable way. And the way that she's willing to kind of like be flexible and take in new ideas, like, I think that's pretty awesome.
Aw. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, this is your
You
show.
may.
To Elizabeth on that note.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's backwards. So like you're here
It's
in my
weird, right?
screen,
Yeah.
but you're there on the TV, on the monitor. There we go. Anyway, that being said, I'm very like humbled that you noticed and said that, because I'm a new voice. I was new to voice acting. Still, am. Weiss is the only character that I voice. But the fact that I was going to say, how do you think? Have you seen or noticed the voice or the tone of the character of Weiss change since the beginning? It kind of sounds like you do, but I don't know if that's just like the plot line or if that is me doing a great job and I'm putting you on the spot now, so I know what your answer is probably going to be.
No, it's actually, so it's funny. I actually, one of the things that drew me into RWBY at the very beginning in volume 1 was the fact that a lot of you guys weren't professional voice actors. Like, I loved that because I thought there were a lot of like really unique, funny moments that happened because you guys didn't know where the box was. And so you didn't feel contained by it. And so some of the line deliveries that you guys gave were just like out of left field. And I loved it. I
bet you were like, I'm auditioning to be a cast with these people.
No, I was so stoked. But one of the things that I have noticed as the volumes have gone on and that I really love is that I can hear you getting more grounded and more comfortable and confident in Weiss's skin and in who Weiss is, which I think is a really interesting parallel because it's not just like you as a voice actor, it's also Weiss as a person.
Right.
Like, your growth as an actor, I feel like, is mirroring Weiss's character growth in the series. So,
well, thank you. And it's honestly the complete truth too. And I mean, it's crazy. It's funny, actually, they told in more recent volumes when you can kind of tell Weiss's tone is a bit more mature or, confident.
mm-hmm.
Miles and Carrie, who do they voice direct us, when we record in Austin. And it was fun when we first, I think it was like I want to say the end of volume 6-ish is kind of when Weiss starts to, realize she's getting older. And they both said, we want you to channel Winter in the scene. And I was like, Winter, isn't she supposed to channel me? I was here first. But I totally understood what they meant. They wanted to, just see that what I could do with you was great. Sorry, I saw the question pop up and that distracted me. Oh, really, Schnee.
People are doing really well with these puns. I've seen like
I told you.
I am so excited. Barbara would be very proud of us. And you guys.
Well, one of the other things I wanted to ask both of you is I feel a lot of fans of the show can relate to, one character or another. And at conventions, I see a lot of people dressed up as your characters or other characters from RWBY. So I want to know, what does that feel like for you being the roles and then going to conventions and getting to experience seeing people living out their dreams of being in RWBY?
This one has a really good story that I can tell. Okay. Tells better stories than me.
No, I don't tell better stories than you. I just love this story. And
tell them better than me.
So I've been a huge nerd for most of my life, and I was going to conventions as a fan and as like kind of like a casual amateur cosplayer for years before I ever took up voice acting professionally. And like the year that I started doing VO, I did like some kind of exercises where you free write about your goals and what your like ideal future looks like and all that stuff. And I have a very specific memory. One of the things I wrote was, I will know that I've made it when someone cosplays a character that I've voiced at a convention that I go to. So that was really, it's been really wild and really touching and humbling to see people be as invested in the characters that I voice as I am and love them as much as I do. And I still never get over the thrill of seeing cosplayers.
I thought you were going to tell the story.
Wait, which story?
You mean our story?
No.
I think she thought you were going to tell our story.
Together, and there happened to be cosplayers that were in front of your booth.
Oh, that story.
I might have interrupted to be like, "Oh my God, this is happening."
I think you should tell this story, Kara.
I'm not a good storyteller when it comes to you. No, when it compares to you. No. Tell it. It's so cute.
Well, people will sometimes ask me, like, what are my most memorable, like, con moments? And one of them happened at, I think it was my first year at Planet Comic Con, right, Chris? I don't
remember, Liz.
I think it was the first year.
Once you start telling the story, then I'll figure it out.
And there was a couple, a boyfriend and a girlfriend that were cosplaying as Winter and Crow. And they came up to my booth to get some stuff signed. And they wanted to take a picture with me. And they had me, like, standing in between them. And they had a friend who had the camera. And little did I know, or the Winter know, that they weren't taking a photo. They were videotaping it.
Yeah.
And literally with me in the middle of them, the Crow cosplayer got down on one knee and pulled out a ring.
I will send the photo.
Proposed
I do remember this.
No way! Yes, and I was like just in the middle, like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening.
And I was horrible. I interrupted and I go, "Is this real life? Everyone stop. They're getting engaged."
Oh my gosh, I wonder if they had like a Ruby themed wedding.
Has anyone had a Ruby themed wedding?
Oh my god.
Crazy, I feel like. Almost. I mean, crazy cool. But I feel like, if you think about it, the colors, I feel like could be used for a wedding.
Hi, Sarah. Oh, they're here.
Sarah! Oh my gosh, look at your cute picture. I was trying to find a picture of Winnie. I'm actually looking through my phone right now to see if I can find the one where I have Elizabeth's face going in the middle of it all.
Oh my gosh.
I'll find it.
Sarah, we need to know if you had a Ruby themed wedding, just out of curiosity. How exciting. Oh my gosh. What a moment.
It was so crazy.
That is very cool that we have them on the stream tonight.
That's so cool. So how long have you been together now, Sarah? How long has it been since your wedding?
Let's see if we can follow along.
We'll get the comments here in a second. Yeah.
If we can get you back up here, just out of curiosity.
Okay, so while we're waiting for Sarah, have the two of y'all? Our first dance
was a tango to Crow vs. Winter.
That's amazing. I love that you guys chose a tango as your wedding dance.
I can see that. I would love to see kind of like an overlay of the tango when like the Crow and Winter fight, like in volume 3.
Well, I feel like it's the perfect dance because the tango is like very passionate. But it also kind of feels like the people are a little angry at each other.
Exactly.
There's a lot of intensity.
2 years ago. Well, that's awesome. This is so cool.
I'm gonna find
Just put up a comment that got married 2 years ago. That's very exciting. So it must have been the first time you were at Planet.
Yep.
Liz.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I think Kara's still looking for the picture, and I would love to see this picture.
I mean, it'll happen for a little bit. Oh my gosh, I think I actually have it. Wait.
The moment
We'll figure it out.
So
I
while Kara's searching for the picture, there was a question that was asked earlier that I really liked. That's kind of more about recording, like the process of recording. So what is the longest session that you've ever had to do as your Ruby character?
We'll start with Liz since Kara. I was going to say Kara's looking at the phone.
I can answer quickly while I'm searching still.
Okay.
The longest one I would say would be when I did my first video game recording for Furby for Grim Eclipse, and also Blaze Blue Crosstalk Battle. That was about. I mean, that wasn't directly with Rooster. I mean, it was through Rooster Teeth, but not part of the show. But that was. Dude, like Elizabeth, mad props to you, dude. I don't know how you do that all the time. I mean, I walked out like sweating. It was about like 4 to 6 hours because you got to make you have to do all of the different efforts in a different level. So it's like, and even just movements, like small jump, large jump, off of a mountain leap. And I'm like, I thought I did the off the mountain leap sound 2 sounds ago, but I guess I got to do another sound.
A bigger mountain. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was so challenging, but it was also so rewarding at the same time. So I got to say that. I mean, that Weiss and I are like in that of, give us a challenge and we'll do it.
Yeah, I think the longest VO session I've ever had was 4 hours, but that was for a video game. And I mean, part of the reason, like Kara said, that video game sessions are so long is because you have to account for every possible scenario or movement that your character could perform, say, or do.
The player wants the character to do. So it's crazy. They can choose anything. And it's like, you got to do all those variations of it all.
Whereas for like Ruby, I think the longest session I ever had was 2 hours because it's a little bit more straightforward when you're doing animation because there is a script. And obviously you can improv or you can try different deliveries or interpretations of a line, but there's a little bit more of a limit. And it's interesting because I always feel like animation sessions, like video game sessions are more physically tiring to me, but then animation sessions are usually more emotionally exhausting.
I'm sure. Do you have any like pre-recording rituals that you guys do in order to get into your characters?
I try when I'm driving to record. The only thing I will listen to is anything from any of the Ruby soundtracks.
Oh.
I think that just kind of gets me pumped up, and I kind of have it on, like a shuffle or whatnot, to where it's never like exactly. But I usually like ones that are. I mean, depending on what I'm recording, I'll try to kind of find one of the songs or soundtracks that goes with the emotion that Weiss will be when I go into record. But more likely than not, it's usually like the pump up songs, like, yeah, we got this kind of thing. And that reminds me of Monty, just because whenever we would do panels with Monty, he would be in the back just going like, you got this. They're like, Monty, you're not going out like for battle. Come on now. I'm like, no, I'm just so pumped. And it was awesome. So I was like, I just get excited and hyper. So.
I'm pretty religious in my vocal warm-ups. I have like kind of a set series of vocal warm-ups that I do just because it makes me feel like comfortable and grounded and, in touch with myself. And then I tend to I like to go through some of my favorite like moments. If I've already recorded a character, some of my favorite lines or scenes, or sometimes I'll come up with like secret lines in my head and I'll go through those a lot to just kind of get myself like back in both vocally where they sit and also like where their brain is, where their like mindset is.
And since we're talking about recording, is there anything that you can tell us about how you guys have had to adapt to the current culture of what's going on in the world right now as far as recording, maybe for Volume 8 or just in general?
I found it!
Oh, God!
That knocked us all off screen.
Let out my excitement.
We're awake! Okay, let's see it.
Okay, well, I'll send it to Chris. I'll text it to you, and maybe we can put it up or something.
And text it to me. I'll text it to John, and John can put it up.
Okay, sweet. Sweet. Yay! Sorry. The question was.
I'll field the question while Kara's handling that.
Yeah.
By the way, kid, I can't stop staring at your hair. It is so beautiful.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's been really crazy. It is not unusual for voice actors to record at home, but Kara and I don't really do VO in the realms where that's the case. Most of the time for video games and animation and anime dubbing, because of the technical requirements involved, and the number of people who kind of have their hands in the pot in terms of like writers, directors, producers, etc., they don't want you to record at home usually. Like they want you to go into the studio.
Because they already have that time allotted for other actors as well, too. And it's just, I assume, right?
Yeah. And so, like, it's been a huge challenge for me to adjust to, you know, figuring out how do I build a home studio in my 500 square foot studio apartment, and how do I like really quickly teach myself about the technical side of like recording and audio and voiceover, because there's so much. But thankfully I have a lot of friends who have been very helpful, and the studios themselves, like we're all on the same team. Like we're all just trying to the best we can to keep doing the work that we love and getting it out to fans. So everybody's been super helpful. And so,
there it is.
Elizabeth was like, it's happening. There we go. I'm so excited. I'm so proud of myself for going through my 15,000 photos and finding it that way.
Good job, Kara.
Thanks, Easter.
But yeah, so
Kara, your reaction is always everyone's. Oh no. You have the proposal video and I'm the part that ruined it. Oh no. I'm so sorry.
I don't think that's quite what they said. I'm pretty sure.
Know, but that's how I took it. But
I have learned through this conversation, though, Kara, that there's a new language I need to learn, and it's Kara hands, Kara speak. You're very visual in your conversation.
I'm very animated.
You are very animated.
I've been sitting, as y'all, I'm very hyper, as you know, too. So sitting in one spot for a long period of time, got to move my hands. It also looks like I'm moving way faster than I am. I'm just going like up, down. But
no, you're like super speed.
Like crazy speed. It's amazing. But yes, I tend to. I'm very animated, and just being here and talking to people gets me more hyper and excited. And I'm like, I want to go see everyone, but we can't yet.
Virtually.
Soon.
We're hanging out.
Soon. One day you're all going to be back in Kansas City at Planet. Liz, you hold the record. I think I had you at Planet 3 years in a row. I don't think I've ever had anybody 3 years in a row. I know, that's why.
And I loved it even more the third time.
I appreciate you taking that time every year. That is so sweet of you.
You are one of my most favoritist cons ever.
I appreciate that.
That was
Unsplaining with Schnee.
So we got to leave some time to ask some questions about Ruby. The fans are going to want to hear about Ruby.
Already 7:52.
I know, it's almost an hour already.
Whoa,
time flies.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, so do we want to take some final questions from here? Let's see if we got any good final questions. Everyone's just saying how awesome y'all are. I was like, okay, you're awesome, you're awesome, you're awesome, you're awesome. Everyone's really excited. How about, is there an actor or a voice actor that you would like to see potentially join the cast in the future? Anyone that stands out to you? Okay, Elizabeth shaking her head. Okay.
Well, okay. So with quarantine, I've rediscovered my love. Huh?
I said, been doing some daydreaming.
Well, it's just, so I've been playing a lot more games because I've had more time, and usually I don't have enough time to play many games, despite the fact of wanting to. So because of quarantine, I've rediscovered my love of Diablo 3, and I started it all over again. And I, was sitting there listening to the voiceover, and I was just like, man, that Leah girl, whoever her voice actress is just so talented and natural. And The VO in the entire game is really good, but she just stood out to me. And I was like, who is this? I cannot place that voice. And I looked it up, and it's Jennifer Hale, who I
she's
never
awesome.
would have guessed.
Oh, I love her. Yeah.
Like, it does not sound like her at all to me. I was blown away by not just her performance, but her range. And I think Jennifer Hale would be a great addition to the RWBY universe.
This is my shimmy, shimmy, yes. Shimmy, shimmy, yes.
We're getting the shimmy in the hands. We're going to have a whole like dance by the end of this. So
I don't know if y'all can handle that yet.
And then we'll learn a tango. What about you, Kara? Any actors you'd like to see join the RWBY gang?
Honestly, I'm so happy to be a part of it. It still blows my mind, and I'm very, very thankful. So honestly, anyone and everyone, people that are, I want to say like, the obvious choices would be like Brad Pitt.
Oh, is he available?
He'd be like John's older brother that Weiss likes.
Nice.
White Knight ship all the time.
At least you're shooting realistically.
Yes.
Time sneaked up on us. This is so true. I can't believe this.
I've not used that one or heard it. That's a good one.
All right, Kenneth. So since we are unfortunately getting to the end of this stream, is there any final thoughts you want to leave us with, or any upcoming projects that you're able to promote?
Currently, watch RWBY and all that good stuff. I recently joined Cameo, which is like a website. Y'all probably know what it is, but if you don't, there's a bunch of celebrities like bigger than RWBY characters, but also some of the RWBY people are on there, and you can give shout outs to your friends or anything for like birthdays or jokes or anything fun. And that's something that I think a lot of people have found interesting during this pandemic, because it's like a gift they can send to their friends or a joke that you don't have to actually be there physically with them. So I think it's really fun. So there's Cameo, and then just look at me on Twitter and keep up with that for everything coming up next.
Yeah. Also, Zobi too, if people want to get
thank you.
Any prints, or if they want to send in stuff to, like, if you have your own stuff that you want to send in and get signed to kind of tide you over till we get to come back to Kansas City.
Why don't you repeat that one a little bit? That went by kind of fast, and maybe John K can pull up that and put it on the screen.
It might.
It's called Zobi V Shout. It's a ZOBIE, and both Kara and I have profiles on there. If you
see if I can send you the Twitter link to that I have, which should be like in 2 seconds.
John can find it, I think, and John is our backstage person who's handling the production.
Thank you, John. Shout out to John.
And then in terms of like, obviously we mostly can't talk about what we have coming up soon, but if you've blown through RWBY and you want to watch something else, I'm currently in My Hero Academia and Plunderer and Fruits Basket. All of those are streaming on Funimation right now. Obviously, My Hero is amazing, but the other two shows are fantastic. If you haven't seen them, I really recommend them. And I am also in the Netflix show Altered Carbon Resleeved that came out in March, I think. So you can give that a watch on Netflix.
Very cool. And I also want to say that, like, for Cameo and Zobi, they also make really great gifts. So if your friend, spouse, anybody is a RWBY fan, and you're thinking, what's a unique gift to get for somebody? I think that's a really clever gift. So just saying, the holidays are coming up. So
especially as we're all stuck here at home, it's like, I wish I could see everyone, but it's like, well, now everyone has the opportunity again with my hands.
That's okay.
Why do they look like they're going so fast? They're not going that fast.
It's an illusion.
Also, I just joined TikTok, so feel free to get on there and watch me be a complete dork. Because most of my ideas are terrible ones.
No, they're not. I bet they're amazing. I've never. I've heard of it, but I've never joined. So
the night is young, Kara.
I think
that Liz will see an uptick in the number of people following her TikTok here in just a few minutes. So.
An uptick? I see what you did there, Chris.
Well, the two of you have been so lovely, and thank you so much again for doing this. This is so cool.
Oh, thank you for having
Thanks
us.
for joining us.
Thank you. And I know, Chris, did you have some fun?
Yeah, I have some things here. Ladies, we chat a little bit backstage after the production here, so if you could stay on and join us for a few minutes. But we have a few announcements that we want to make. We have some upcoming streams on Sunday. We have a cosplay crafter series stream with at 2 p.m. Central with Bruce Holt and Crazy Costumes. And then on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., William Binderup and I will again be on Talking Comics. William Binderup, owner of Elite Comics in Overland Park, will be talking comics with guests J.P. Roth and Dawn McTagg. So please join us on Sunday at 2 p.m. Central and on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central.
Awesome. Well, I think we did it, right?
I think we got it covered. I was wondering how I could keep the conversation going for an hour, and I didn't have to do anything here. You two, this was awesome. This was really great. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. I appreciate your time, and I hope to see you again soon. Hope to see you in Kansas City soon, but I'll see you somewhere regardless.
Oh, thank you for having us, Chris.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was seriously a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll do more of these.
Absolutely, and thank you, Kid Cadet, for hosting it.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Mission sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. We have a liftoff. Liftoff on Apollo 11.